Good evening, Great Talk Tribe. You're welcome to Tido Podcast Platform. With you in the studio is no other person but your host, Adesina Roslyn, one of the personnel at Crimpad Enterprise, entrepreneur at Linus Organic Oil, and one of the co-facilitator at TEENSFO Community. And we'll be organizing a training at TEENSFO Community next week. All right. Necessary information about the training will be communicated to you at the end of this podcast. So you have to stay tuned till the end. Alright, you're welcome back. It will be really great to share with you tonight, evening, or whatever you call it. Alright, the theme for today's episode is the waiting. The waiting. What comes to your mind when you hear this phrase, and what can you say? What can you think of? The waiting. Okay, let me ask a question. If I tell you that all you need to have a smooth, journey, to have a smooth fulfillment of purpose, is just God, will you accept and agree with me? Alright, let me just make these 3 points to make it clear that what makes up a significant achievement, what makes up a significant establishment and fulfillment are those 3 points. 1, direction. 2, the waiting phase. And 3, the lessons and experiences. And I would say 4, the application. Okay? The direction. Talking about the direction is knowing your destination, and it helps you partition anything called distraction along the road. I said some times ago that when we keep focus, we see only what lies ahead. Then distractions become nuisance to us. And that is just what it is. And talking about the other one, waiting. No matter how you have direction, even let's take it to the physical scenario we could think of. If you bought a bus and, for instance, you're moving from Lagos to Port Harcourt, on the road there will be potholes. You do not expect all the road to be smooth. Even if it is smooth, you encounter some challenges. It could be, the tire of the car, of the bus that has fault, that will come up with a fault, or anything could happen. So, no man should want to embark on a journey and expect everything to be perfect. No, it doesn't happen like that. So there are points along the road when you have to wait. It is either to wait to reflect or to wait to think ahead. Either of the two. And that period is the period most people want to elude, which is never possible. And that is the reason for this podcast. So it means that even if you have direction in life, like I said in the first podcast, that knowing your purpose is important. Even if you know your purpose, you have direction and you have focus. It does not still mean that you don't need mentorship. It doesn't mean you don't need growth. It doesn't mean lesson. So tonight I want to talk about that second point, waiting, the waiting phase. So, and this phase cannot be, attained. Like we cannot stay and become at this stage all ourselves. No. Except we include God. Okay? So, waiting on God at every potholes to know the right decision to take. But most people don't want to wait. Even aside those that have direction, those that don't have direction, that are being moved, they react to life, according to how, what their emotions are saying. which is very, very dangerous. That is one part. And now I'm talking about the parts where you already have direction. Okay, so if you haven't have direction, you still have to listen to the first, episode we had on this platform. Having direction. Now, you don't have direction, but you still have to wait at some point. Life is not like that. You should have lessons, you should have experiences you have to take along with you. And those are the things that will sustain you, even when you get to that stage of fulfillment. Those are the things that will keep you standing, unwavering, when you get to that point of achievement. Okay? And another thing is, there are also signals to know that you're not the waiting type. Because not everyone, knows. Not everyone knows. Not everyone is conscious, of the fact that they don't want, to think before they take action. Not everyone is conscious of the fact that they don't wait. They don't think before they take action. Not everyone. So, to find out if you fall into this category, you will realize that you are unnecessarily anxious about situations. Okay? You don't want to see yourself get entangled with any challenge. You don't want anything along the road, which is never possible. So you become unnecessarily anxious. And what causes anxiety is most times, doubt. That, oh my God, will this thing be possible? Will I ever fulfill this? Oh, I'm already turning into my mid-30s. What will happen? What will my life become? Okay, I'm not financially stable at this age. Oh my God, I have to just look for every means, to get out of these shackles. You see that you respond to your impulse, your emotions, rather than rather than insight, rather than having foresight. So you see yourself unnecessarily anxious over situations. And those anxiety pushes you to taking rash decisions. I talked about last, episode that our relationship with God is the one that can, satisfy every other relationship we have with, the physical being creations. And I talked about decision. If you put God, or if you continue to put God behind the scene and involving Him later on, after you must have, seen the consequences of your action, then you are not growing by doing that. You are only delaying the process, the journey more and more. So those anxiety pushes you to taking rash decisions. And these decisions are void of foresight, but they are propelled with, impulses. Now, impulses. I have to get out of here now. I can't imagine myself being here. You are just too overwhelmed. And those impulses drives you over any means you see to escape from that situation. And that situation never stays forever in the first place. It can't. But it only leaves you with life lessons that lives forever. And those life lessons, you might elude it if you don't see it. If you don't see that situation as a means to learn, as a means to gain experience, as a means to become stronger. So it only leaves you with lessons, life lessons that lives forever in the end. And that end is what you couldn't wait for in the first place. Now landing you into, consequences you can no longer elude. And those consequences could have been averted in the first place just by you involving God. That's all. God who can direct you and probably train you on how to wait. God who can groom you up till you are capable enough to continue the journey, to make you relax. Giving you experiences or grooming you, and leaving you with a better experience to know how to deal more with issues when they arise. And that alone, when you involve God, you won't keep, evolving round and round and round in the spot. Something happens on the road. You take a decision immediately without involving God. You get your consequence and you not come back to involve God, He's not done. He's not done. He's not done like that.
What will it be like when my world turns out like you planned? When will I get there? Feels like I'm nowhere. My dreams are like dust in my...
Alright, that was The Waiting by Jamie Grace. So, it is important to wait to hear from God, from your Creator, before making any step that might end up, your life in regret. So you have to watch it. And a good example from the scriptures is in Ruth chapter 1. The life of Elimelech. When there was famine, he could not wait to hear from God. He rushed down to a strange land, and from there he was destroyed. It was later the wife involved God. It was late, but thank God, God favored them. They received mercy from God. So you could go read it up for more understanding. Elimelech went to a strange land with the family and all of them, and he was destroyed with his 2 sons, leaving the wife and in-laws. So you have a choice to make. And even when you now have a direction, when you now have a purpose to fulfill, you must understand that there is a waiting period. In Ecclesiastes chapter 3, the Bible talks more on it. Time to wait. In verse 5 it says there is time to embrace and time to refrain. It is not opportunity. It's not everything you see that you jump at and you accept it hook, line and sinker. Okay? And it is only when you have direction that you can channel, and look out for opportunity in that line, in that, purpose, in your part. So, the waiting period is not a time to groan. It's not a time to feel, the whole hurt, the whole world, has dumped, the whole problem of the world is on you. No. It is a time to relax, to involve God. It is a time to take up the lessons, to live in the moment, to enjoy the mentorship from God and other, great calibers, and applying it to your life. It makes you grow and become better. And those are the things that can sustain you when you get to that finish line. It will always sustain you to make you significant. And that is what the waiting period is all about. Not the time to mourn, not the time, to feel down. The time to pick up yourself and learn lessons. Alright, in order not to take too much of our time, that is the end of today's episode. I think that is all I've got to share. Okay, so if you want to have a significant achievement and establishment in your life, since you have a direction, or if you haven't, seek for it to have a direction. Then learn the waiting phase. It is important, okay? And take up those lessons, the moment, the mentorship, the discipleship from God and your mentors, your godly mentors, and apply them to your life, okay? Alright, and for the TEENSFO Leadership School training coming up next week, I think you have to check our Facebook Talk Tribe page, Talk Tribe group, rather. You'll find more information there. Alright, till I come your way next, please keep staying safe, okay? Keep staying safe. And this period, this weather, I don't know. My side, is filled with so much Amatan everywhere. So you have to cover yourself up, okay? Alright, I remain your host, Adesina Rosaline. Bye for now.
These thoughts that are taking control.